Welcome. Today, we're diving into a situation that's, frankly, developing really fast. It feels like a genuine constitutional conflict playing out right now.
It really does. We're looking at serious questions about government power, free speech,
Yeah.
and the media.
Exactly. It centers on a top federal official who seems to be escalating a campaign against broadcast media in a way we haven't really seen before.
And this specific date, September 19th, 2025, it's become quite significant, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Because we're seeing the FCC, a federal agency, using its regulatory power, or the threat of it,
Right.
to pressure private companies about content that's, critical of the administration. This isn't just policy talk.
No, it feels more like using maybe fear to get a kind of censorship by proxy. The FCC chair, Brendan Carr, even called it a massive shift in dynamics in the media ecosystem.
That phrase itself is telling.
So that's our focus today. We need to unpack this whole situation, looking at the sources detailing Carr's campaign. It started with the really sudden suspension of Jimmy Kimmel.
Which was stunning in its speed.
And now, today, news that he's targeting ABC's The View. We want to connect the dots, understand the pattern, see what the constitutional stakes really are for, media independence.
Absolutely. And to get today's escalation, you really have to start with Kimmel.
Mm-hmm.
What happened there kind of set the stage, didn't it? The speed, the capitulation, it showed the strategy could work.
Okay, let's break that down. It all kicked off earlier this week, right? After Jimmy Kimmel's Monday monologue, he was talking about the terrible assassination of Charlie Kirk, the conservative commentator. And Kimmel, he went right at it, suggesting the suspect was part of the Matt A gang.
Yeah, he claimed the right was trying to distance themselves from the killer.
Yeah.
Saying they were desperately trying to characterize this kid as anything other than one of them.
But then the story shifted.
Right. Because court documents came out pretty quickly after that.
Yeah.
And they painted a very different picture of the suspect, Tyler Robinson. Well, the document suggested he'd actually become more political recently, but leaning left, focused on pro-gay and trans rights issues specifically.
So a direct contradiction to Kimmel's narrative connecting him to Matt GA.
Exactly. And that contradiction, whether Kimmel knew it or not at the time, that became the political ammunition Carr needed.
Which brings us to the threat, this jawboning, as the legal folks call it.
This term, yeah.
Oh.
Carr went on Benny Johnson's show, a conservative podcaster, and the quote we have is, well, it's pretty blunt.
What did he say?
He said, "We can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to change conduct, to take action, frankly, on Kimmel, or, there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead."
Wow, additional work for the FCC? That's not subtle.
Not at all. It's a direct threat of regulatory action if ABC didn't do something about Kimmel. And this gets to the heart of the First Amendment issue, right? The government can't directly censor speech, but it seems like a state actor can potentially intimidate a private company into silence using the threat of their regulatory power.
And the intimidation worked, apparently,
Yeah.
immediately.
Instantly. Within hours, literally hours of Carr making that threat public, ABC announced Jimmy Kimmel Live was off the air indefinitely.
Pull. That's incredible speed.
It is. And it perfectly illustrates jawboning. The government official uses the threat of adverse action, maybe a license review, investigation, that additional work, to force a private company's hand.
So no direct government order, but the same result, censorship.
Essentially, yes. Censorship achieved through leveraging commercial fear. It worked with Kimmel, and that seems to have set a very dangerous precedent.
Which clearly emboldened Carr, because now we pivot to today's news, September 19th. He's escalating, targeting another, arguably bigger, ABC property.
That's right. The new target is The View, the daytime talk show. Carr was on the Scott Jennings show today, suggesting it would be worthwhile for the FCC to investigate the program.
Okay, so what's the angle this time? What's the alleged violation? How can the FCC chair even go after a show like The View? Does he have that power?
Well, the power question is part of the crisis, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's about using the threat of that power, the power over broadcast licenses. For The View, he's specifically questioning if it qualifies as a bona fide news program under the FCC's equal time rule.
The equal time rule. I thought that was mainly about political candidates getting fair airtime.
Traditionally, yes. But The View is mostly seen as opinion, entertainment. However, if they argue they are news to protect certain content, then Carr seems to be saying they might fall under fairness standards related to political discourse. It's a creative, maybe aggressive application of the rule.
And is there something specific he's pointing to, like with the Kimmel monologue contradiction?
Yes. And this is the crucial data point, the sort of aha moment for his regulatory argument. The Media Research Center put out figures.
What did they show?
They showed that between January and April of this year, 2025, The View had, get this, 63 liberal guests on the show. That included 9 Democratic politicians.
Okay. And how many right-leaning guests?
0. None.
Wow, 63 to 0.
Exactly. That specific imbalance, that number, that's the hook Carr can use. It's not subjective opinion. It's data he can point to within this admittedly stretched equal time or fairness context. It makes the show vulnerable to a targeted investigation.
So he's using a rule maybe designed for something else to challenge the political balance of an opinion show.
It appears so. And he was quite blunt about it on CNBC today, too. Said something ominous like, we're not done yet with seeing the consequences of that.
Consequences of what? The imbalance?
It seems implied. He linked it all back to President Trump, saying Trump has helped create this massive shift in dynamics in the media ecosystem and has smashed the facade that they get to control what we get to say.
It's interesting framing, using government power to stop perceived media control by potentially controlling the media.
It's a paradox, certainly. And it's exactly why the political reaction today has been explosive.
Right. The Democrats came out swinging hard.
Absolutely nuclear language. You had House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, the whole Democratic leadership team, putting out a statement demanding Carr resign immediately.
What were their grounds?
They called it corrupt abuse of power. Said he was bullying ABC to bend the knee to the Trump administration. Strong stuff.
And Senate Leader Chuck Schumer.
He went even further, called Carr one of the single greatest threats to free speech America has ever known, demanded he be fired. And the House Democrats even threatened relentless unleashing of congressional subpoena power if they win back control.
So serious threats from Congress. How's Carr responding?
A little defiance. Went on Dana Loesch's show and said point blank, I'm not going anywhere.
Okay, so if he's facing that kind of fire, what's his justification? What's the mission he claims to be on?
His stated rationale is key here. He says he's reinvigorating the public interest standard.
Meaning what, exactly?
Meaning, in his view, the media has had an unchecked liberal bias for too long. And using the FCC's authority to challenge that bias, to push for more balance, is serving the public interest according to him. It's a philosophical argument about the FCC's role.
But looking at the bigger picture, the sources show this isn't just Kimmel and The View, right? There's a pattern emerging since January.
A very clear pattern.
Yeah.
Since he became chairman in January 2025, Carr has launched formal investigations into ABC, CBS, NBC News, and NPR.
4 major outlets.
Right. It's not random hits. It looks like a coordinated sweep.
And the one major network not on that list.
Fox News. Owned by Rupert Murdoch, a known Trump ally. That omission is notable. It certainly fuels the accusations of political motivation.
And this connects to Project 2025.
Directly. Carr literally wrote the FCC chapter for the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025 blueprint.
And what did he say there?
He specifically criticized media companies for what he saw as censorship of conservative viewpoints. So what he's doing now, these targeted investigations, using rules like equal time in new ways, it looks exactly like the playbook he laid out in that document.
Yeah.
He's putting the blueprint into action.
The ACLU has weighed in, too.
Strongly. They called his actions a grave threat to our First Amendment freedoms. Said officials shouldn't be deciding who can speak, write, and even joke. It frames this as fundamental free expression issue.
So bringing it back to the listener, why does this fight over a late-night show or a daytime talk show matter so much to everyone else?
It matters because it's about the principle. When a powerful government official can use the threat of regulatory action, losing a license, facing costly investigations, to make a private company silence speech, even controversial speech, that fundamentally undermines media independence.
And the fact that ABC folded so quickly on Kimmel.
That sets a chilling precedent. It shows the strategy works. It sends a message to every other network and outlet, fall in line, or you could be next.
So the big question hanging over all this is whether this tactic, using these regulatory threats, is going to permanently change how critical the media feels it can be, regardless of whether job owning is technically illegal or not.
Exactly. It leaves us with a really troubling thought. If the government can effectively censor content it dislikes just by scaring broadcasters without ever issuing an official order, have we found a way to bypass the First Amendment for broadcast media? That's the battle we're watching unfold.
It's a critical question indeed. Thanks for helping us unpack these sources today. We'll definitely keep monitoring this situation.
And just a reminder, if you're listening on YouTube, please do like the video and subscribe to the channel.
Or if you're listening on Spotify, please make sure to follow us there. It really helps us keep bringing you these kinds of in-depth looks at the news.